J-Rocc is here, and we got to address something that just happened over the past, 12 hours. As you can see in the video, Stephen A. Smith is, I guess you can say, being confronted by a seemingly upset LeBron James. This morning on First Take, Stephen A. said that the conversation was centered around, confrontation, regardless of what you want to call it. It was centered around LeBron James' son, LeBron James, or LeBron James Jr. And Stephen A. was, talking about how he understood as a father, him being a father himself, that he understood that LeBron was approaching him not as LeBron James, a basketball player, but LeBron James, the father. And I just want to say this. Let me make this clear. All right. J-Rocc has lived long enough. I've been on this world 42 years, okay? I have learned some things in this lifetime. One of the things I've learned is that there's no such thing as not liking someone. That's literally a fallacy. It doesn't exist. What you don't like is what somebody said or what they did. That's what you don't like. People often confuse the two or say they're one and the same. But if that person did or said things you thought they should or the way you liked them, would you still dislike them? Probably not. Think about the people you do like. 9 times out of 10, because they say or do things that you like in a way that you like, and say things or do things in a way that you agree with. What I'm about to say about LeBron is not about LeBron himself. It's about what he did and what he said. I want to make that crystal clear. Now, there are a lot of folks that, don't too much care for Stephen A. and his banter. Some people call him Screaming A. Smith. I actually don't have a problem with Stephen A. I don't always agree with some of the things he says, but that's neither here nor there. I'm of the belief that, grown, mature people can disagree with something somebody says and still love each other in Jesus' name. That's just how I feel about it, all right? I'm not saying we got to be buddies or pals, but I'm just saying it ain't got to be hostile, and that's just where I'm coming from. But I want to be fair to Stephen A. in this regards here. I've watched my share of First Take as it pertains to the coverage surrounding LeBron James' son. And if what Stephen A. said is true, because here's another thing I've learned is like Proverbs 25 says, whoever tells their side of the story first always sounds right. Until cross-examination. All right? So the next time somebody comes to you with the he said, she said, just know this, that they're telling their version of the truth. It's not that they're lying. They're just telling their version of what happened. Now you need to get the other side before you make a decision on who's actually telling the truth. They both could be lying. It's just they're just telling their version of what they believe was true and what actually happened. But based on what Stephen A. Smith said, I'm going to go off that. LeBron has not said anything publicly about the incident or the confrontation, but I'm going to go off what Stephen A. Smith said. If what he's saying is true, I must say that was very weak by LeBron. Incredibly weak by LeBron James. And here's why. Before LeBron James came into the NBA, his father, LeBron James, said in a tweet that he thinks LeBron James, I'm paraphrasing, that he believes LeBron James Jr. is better than a lot of guys in the NBA right now. That he will school a lot of these dudes in the NBA. He said that. Now, you and I both know that being LeBron James' son in the same profession as his dad, that creates pressure in and of itself, by itself. That is a pressure in and of itself. But when you, LeBron James, open up your mouth and say that your son is better than a lot of the players in the NBA currently, and Charles Barkley says this all the time, everybody in the NBA can play. There are dudes who are at the bottom of the NBA who would give dudes the business out and about, just regular dudes. They may not be as good as their constituents, but as far as actual just regular basketball players, they will destroy a lot of these dudes out here. All right? So the idea that you can just show up and be as good as a lot of dudes in the NBA, that's no. All right? There are a lot of dudes, you're not as good as the guys in the G League. My point is that LeBron James put even more pressure on his son when he said that. Y'all remember LeVar Ball? LeVar Ball said that he believed his son Lonzo, when Lonzo was still at UCLA, he believed his son was better than Steph Curry to him, in his opinion. Now, look, I don't got no problem with fathers hyping up their children, saying my son or my daughter is better than this person. And now, I ain't got no problem with it, but you must understand something. When you make those statements publicly and they get out to the public, you put a target on your child's back. Now, maybe you think, hey, my child can handle it. I'm not scared. But when you say that, you must know what comes with it. LeBron James has been in the NBA for over 20 years. He knows what's going to happen. He is way too smart to know that when you say stuff like that, what comes with it. Maybe he overestimated his son. We don't know. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. But if you watch First Take and listen to Stephen A., what has Stephen A. said about LeBron James that anyone else hasn't said? There's three main things folks have said about Bronny James. He's only in the NBA because of his dad. He's not ready yet. All right? And that he shouldn't have been drafted to the Lakers. Those are basically the three things people have always said. Outside of that, what else do people say? They say he's a bad kid. He's a horrible son. No, they just say he ain't ready for the NBA. Who else who has basic basketball common sense can't see that Bronny James isn't NBA ready? And we all know he's only on the team because of his dad. LeBron James, before he even checked into his first preseason game, let alone his first NBA regular season game, he got, a 4-year contract from the Lakers. I can't remember the numbers, but it was 4 years and something. He hadn't even played yet, and the Lakers drafted another guy, I think, in the top 10. We didn't even talk about him. But we know why we talk about Bronny James, simply because he's LeBron James' son. And for LeBron to go up to Stephen A. and basically seemingly say, keep my child's name out your mouth, allegedly, that last week, dog, you put your son in that situation. You can't tell folks that you think your son better than half the league, and when we watch him play in the NBA, he look like hot garbage, and expect folks not to say nothing. He's a grown man now. He ain't no child. Look, I get it. I'm a father. I have a son. No matter how old my child gets, he's always going to be my baby boy. My father calls me his baby boy. I'm the youngest of 4 siblings. So I get that. But there comes a point where you can't protect your child from everything. You got to let your child grow up. And when you thrust your son into the spotlight like that, like LeBron James did by making that statement, your son has to be able to back it up. And thus far, at least from the NBA perspective, he hasn't. Now, he looked very good in the G League. He looks real good in the G League. But that's not what LeBron said. He didn't say he's better than half the guys in the G League. He said he's better than half the guys in the NBA. That's what he said. And so when you put your son in that position to say you think that he's better than these guys, you got to understand what comes with it. There's something that I've learned as a parent. It's known as covert rejection. Covert simply means hidden, not seen, not meant to be seen. Overt, obvious, out in the open, you can see it, not hidden. Covert, behind the scenes, you don't see it. Covert rejection is a killer when it comes to your kid's confidence. Because to the untrained eye, it looks like love. It looks like you're protecting your child, when in reality, you're rejecting them. If as a parent, I do for my children what they should be doing for themselves, then what I'm indirectly telling them is, you're not smart enough to know how to do this. You're not smart enough to learn how to do this. You're not smart enough to be able to figure this out yourself. So I got to do it for you. And it kills their confidence, because they never learn how to do anything, and they always expect somebody else to do it for them. When parents try to keep our kids away from experiencing failure, it is a form of rejection, because we're telling them you're not strong enough to handle it. You can't deal with it. And it doesn't matter if what you're saying, well, I know my child better than you do. That's not the point. Everybody, in order to know how to bounce back from failure, we first must experience it first, because we're all going to experience it. And so what LeBron James did there, in my opinion, if what he did was about his son, is a form of covert rejection. Stephen A. Smith ain't the only person saying what he's saying about LeBron James. He's not the only one. Plenty of folks have said LeBron. There's people who said stuff worse than what Stephen A. has said. Said he ain't ready for this yet. He ain't good enough for this yet. Stop pushing him out there. And you can look at when he plays. He doesn't. If you know who else don't think he's ready, the Lakers. The Lakers don't think Bronny is ready because they got him in the damn G League. If they thought he was ready, they put him out there and let him fail and just live with the results. But they're not doing that. They got him in the G League. It's developing him because they know he ain't ready. They don't want to just come out and say it because they don't want to piss off LeBron. LeBron got to accept the fact that you put your son in this situation, Doc. Now, again, if Stephen A. said something about LeBron James that was derogatory or inflammatory in any way that wasn't public, hey, I'm with LeBron. Hey, bro, if you want to talk about my son from the basketball court, that's fine. But other than that, bro, you need to keep my son's name out your mouth. Now, I've watched enough of Stephen A. to know that he don't really care about people's personal life. He don't get into that stuff unless you get arrested or something. But other than that, this is weak what LeBron did. If that's what this was about. Are you going to confront everybody this way? Just face it, man. Your son's not ready. You pushed him out there too soon. He's in shark-infested waters. He's got to learn how to deal with the media. Hell, you did. You had to learn how to deal with the media, the criticism that came with it. He's got pressure on him just because you're his father. And so, yeah, this was, to me, was weak by LeBron. Way too weak. Let your son grow up. Let him deal with the criticism that comes his way. And he'll learn how to deal with it. As far as I'm concerned, LeBron, he don't seem fazed by the stuff that's said about him. He understands. He knows what's coming with it. He's just developing, growing, and besides, he's a rookie. He'll get better. He's going to get better. I don't know if he's ever going to be as good as his dad is. I mean, that remains to be seen. I don't believe it, but I can be wrong. But, no, man, that looked real weak by LeBron. Confronting Stephen A. Smith over the criticism of his son. I don't think this was just simply about his son personally. I think it's about a whole lot of other stuff. Stephen A. has religiously said that he has LeBron James ranked second all time to Michael Jordan. And yeah, a lot of people in LeBron James's camp feel some type of way about that. To me, that's just petty. Okay, I don't think personally there is a such thing as a GOAT. All right, because guys played in different eras, different rules were in place, like the way the game was officiated, what guys were allowed to do and not do. The coverage of the game was different. There was no social media in the 90s. Social media didn't really start coming on until the 2000s, early 2010s, that sort of thing. And so, yeah, a lot of that stuff is just banter and just people want to try to, display their basketball IQ and intelligence. To me, it's Michael Jordan is the greatest player I've ever seen. Does that mean he's the GOAT? No. But it's just a matter of, opinion. I'm not finna sit here and go back and forth with nobody about it. But the fact of the matter is that I don't think this was just about Stephen A. talking about his son. I think this is some other stuff about, Stephen A. disagreeing with LeBron. Him and LeBron aren't buddies. They're not friends. I don't think that's earth-shattering news. But this whole thing about him confronting Stephen A. over what he said about his son, to me, that's weak, bro. That's real weak. It makes you look weak. It makes your son look like he can't handle it. Your son is a grown man. He's in the NBA. He plays in the professional league. He's getting a paycheck from them. He has a 4-year contract with them before he even played a first game, bro. And you're going to go and approach this dude because you didn't like what he said about your son and how he was being pushed too early, how he thought you were pushing him out there too soon. Is it possible that Stephen A. was possibly trying to warn you and not criticize you? Is that possible? But that's just my 2 cents. I don't usually make videos about stuff like that because it's just a whole lot of back and forth. All right. But LeBron is just, to me, him doing that, it feeds this whole narrative that a lot of people think that this current generation of NBA players, especially LeBron, just don't want to be criticized. They will accept the praise all day long. Oh, they'll accept the praise. Oh, you say he's the GOAT. You say he broke this record. He's the greatest, this, the best, that. Oh, he'll soak that up till the cows come home. Oh, but the moment you say he ain't as good as Jordan or Kobe or Magic, or he ain't the best this, or he ain't the greatest that, or he's not playing with this, that. We crapping on the league now. We don't know what we're talking about. Do we not know what we were talking about when we were praising you then too? Do we not know about it then? If you don't want the criticism, don't accept the praise either. The same posts and sound bites and tweets and all that other stuff you be doing when people are not saying stuff you like, do it when they're saying stuff you like too. Tell these people, hey, don't be praising me, dude. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't know the game. You don't know what you're talking about. I'm not as good as you think I am. Stop praising me. They're not gonna do that. They're not gonna do that. So when these dudes be complaining about folks crapping on the game, brother, it goes in one end out the other. Y'all a bunch of crybabies, as far as I'm concerned. You crying with cake in your mouth. You can pay hundreds of millions of dollars to play basketball. You're not on some oil rig in the middle of the ocean where your life is on the line or your life is being threatened. You come into the damn game in Bentleys and Mercedes and Lexus and old school cars and limos and all this other stuff. And you mad because people just talking about you a way that you don't like. Man, please. Let me guess. Your wallet is too small for your $100 bills and your diamond shoes are too tight. Like, what you complaining about? But that just goes to show you money don't solve everything. And this is not a matter of being competitive. It's one thing if people say what they say and then you take it out on the court and you shut them up on the court. That's one thing. These dudes are complaining about it like openly, like, man, y'all always trashing the league. It's because the league ain't got nothing going for it right now. I'm not blaming LeBron for that, because LeBron and Steph, they're the needle movers. But when you're in the NBA, you play the game like that, bro, criticism comes with it. Steph get criticized too. He ain't out here crying to the media about it. He just plays. At least not publicly, he doesn't. So, man, no. Like, y'all stop all this complaining about this. You want to shut us up on the court. Give us a better product. Compete in the All-Star game and actually give a damn about customers and fans. Don't wait until after the All-Star game to actually give a damn about wins and losses, because then it might be too late. I'm glad the NBA put the the play-in tournament in. I'm glad they did that. Because it creates one of the best underdog stories if you sell it right. Because you remember the Heat went from the play-in to the finals a few years ago. They lost to the Nuggets, but they went from the play-in to the finals. That was insane. That was a Cinderella run like no other. But the fact of the matter is that if the product on the court stinks, people are going to say something. Because you can't just look at the media. There's also social media. There are fans now. Everybody's got a podcast. You don't even have to go to journalism school anymore. You can just get a microphone, have a smartphone, get you and your partners together, y'all start talking about it. Look up the stats online. Hey, you got a podcast, brother. You may actually get sponsored by somebody. It's that easy now. Just understand, when you're in the limelight, people going to have a lot to say. Some people going to love you. Some people going to hate you. Like what you do, dislike what you do. It comes with it. There's nothing you can do about it. Just do you, and be how you are. That's all you can do. But I stand by what I said. That was a weak move by LeBron James, going up and confronting Stephen A. Smith, allegedly if it was simply just about what Stephen A. Smith had to say about his son. Again, I don't know if that's what was said. I'm just going by what Stephen A. said, all right? I leave the room open for LeBron to come in and correct it and give his side of the story. But if that was the case, I don't think it was just about Bronny. I think it was about a whole lot of other stuff that Stephen A. had to say. LeBron is being way too sensitive. Brother, you've been in the game over 20 years. You should be immune to this stuff by now. Like, you 40 years old and you still worried about, come on, bro. Like, stop. Some people think you're the greatest, some people don't. It ain't gonna change because you confront Stephen A. Matter of fact, this is just gonna add fuel to the fire. The folks who don't think you the greatest, some folks who have you rated top 2 or top 3, they're gonna drop you down to 8 or 9. It is what it is. But that's just what I had to say. Y'all let me know. Post your comments down below. Let J-Rocc know what you thought of reacting to this. If you smell what J-Rocc is cooking.